Welcome back to the Bend and Wrench YouTube channel. Today, working on a 15 Tahoe of my wife's. Fun stuff here. It's got a gas leak. That's always good, you know. You never want to work on your own shit, but sometimes you have to. It's part of the game, right? So what we got going on is there is a fuel odor smell on the driver's side where the fuel tank is. So a lot of times with these GM vehicles, which you run into, especially in Michigan where there's rust, the top of the fuel tank sending unit rots out. The little line comes out, rots off, leak, you know, takes, it's a long start when you go to crank it over, you know, because your fuel pressure loses prime, all that good stuff. So I did do some due diligence, some more research on it as well. I see these have a plastic nylon line, pre-molded, that also kind of could potentially leak. Hopefully it's not that, but we did source one at a dealer if we need one. So we did bring a fuel pump because we were betting on that. By all means, guys, those things are expensive. I tell you. All this to keep the family moving, right? So let's bring you along for this journey. Let's get tore into this thing here. Hopefully, we got all the stuff we need, you know? I got straps, I got bolts. I mean, what else could go wrong, right? It's just a fuel pump. Guys, I wanted to give you a quick tool breakdown before we get into this fuel pump job for this 2015 Tahoe. Pretty basic stuff. We got the old impact with the 15 on her, a hammer, and a flathead to knock the old lock ring off, and then a trusty 8mm for the hose clamp for the filler neck, and obviously a nice pretty pink blowgun to clean everything up. Should be all you need to get the job done, boys. All right, guys, we got her up in the air, kind of assess the situation. Basically, looking at what we need to get the tank down. We got our filler neck here. We have the vent line. Looks like some of the evap system there up to that canister. We got that, and then we got the two main fuel lines. At least these look pretty straightforward. That filler neck's easy to get to, unlike the pickup trucks. And then we got, looks like that dude there, and oh goodness, one over here on the flex sensor. You can see that right there. By the way, that's a flex fuel sensor for your performance guys. You know about that, and also if you're just kind of maintaining your stock stuff here, kind of checks your ethanol content, and that's what, you know, plays with your timing and all that fancy stuff. We use that a lot in the performance world. Work out super sweet. So basically, though, I was hoping to look up there and see if we can maybe find the leak. I don't know. I can't really see all that well up there if that is going to be the spot, but it sure smells like it. So we're gonna go ahead and at least pull it down and assess it. I'm sure it's got to be it. If not, it's that line. It's one of the two for sure, because the filler neck don't look too bad. So let's get the lines off. Sometimes it's necessary to get a hose pick. That's what this dude is. Because she is stuck. You just don't want to poke a hole in the damn thing. Well, guys, that took way longer than it should have. We actually kind of tore the hose a little bit. It is towards the bottom, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You actually still see rubber. It was almost like it was glued on there. But yeah, we got her. So to finish undoing these vent lines, this clip here, you kind of just push in both ends. And it kind of just shoves up out of the way. Just shove that back, and then that doodle should come right off there. like that. So there's one. A large one, they got a couple little tabs right there. I just like to use a pry bar. Kind of work it back and forth. There's that dude. So, all right, here's a little better look up at what we got. Got all our lines disconnected. Let's see if I can show you this a little better. See it started. Man, if I get a light there, good, I'll show you guys. Yeah, you can kind of see it tore a little bit on the inside. Again, we'll just double clamp it. It'll be fine. We'll put a clamp up a little bit higher past that sealing surface. Additional. So it looks like all we got is our front lines that we showed you earlier. We're gonna show you get them busted loose and then get this tank down. We got two 15s to hold the straps in. So that hose took way too long. It kicked my ass. So for one hose, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's get the rest of these going. So this one here is the vent line. So there won't be any fuel in this one, but you just flip these little tabs out of the way. And this thing should, always a little bit of dirt in these things, it seems like. I probably should have sprayed them. You know, that would have been the logical thing, but let me get a pick. Yeah, you put it right here. Use it, there we go. See, look at that. It's prior back. Give her a little twist. There's that dude. All right, so the fuel line is obviously pressurized, so that dude there is going to leak gas. So we'll see if we can get to it in a decent fashion and not spray ourselves, right? Because, you know, in theory, we should have. We probably should have bled the pressure off, but you know what? We're already under here, so I guess we're gonna make it rain, right? You know what's up. So let's pop this bad boy off. All right, this one's kind of hard to see, but like we said earlier, you got a couple little things you push in. Oh, they'll kind of just shove back out of the way. Work that back and forth. And this is where you get a gas bath, so be ready. Well, it wasn't bad as I expected, but you know what? If that setting unit, like we're thinking, was the problem, leaking like that would bleed off pressure, so. All right, so we got a couple 15s right there and there. And I think we're ready to get this thing done. We'll get the trusty transmission jack out. We burned the hell out of that thing. You know what I mean? That was the best $200 investment I got, you know, many moons ago, used, minty fresh. So once we get that down, we can unplug it. After we unplug it, we're ready to set it on the ground or at least get it in a serviceable manner to assess what we got going on. So, Stuart, we'll get this dude right up against the bottom here. And then, like I said, we'll get our impact with a 15 on her. We can blast these straps off. So you got to make sure you don't jack up on the straps either. That's the biggest thing. Then they'll hinge down and got to come out of your way. And you know what's nice is that filler neck being in the back. We're not fighting with it over the frame or like a pickup truck. So should be able to just bring it down. And then at that point, like I said, there should be just a connector for our fuel tank pressure sensor and then the fuel pump itself. So let me grab a 15 and get these buzzed down. Well, that's not what we wanted to do, guys. It broke the clip up there. We do have a spare. And we did bring tank straps, so now at this point here, you can see it free spinning. That means we gotta cut it. So let's hope for the best on the other one real fast. So that's how it's supposed to work. So these things here kind of just swing out of our way. I'll show you on the other side the little clamp it hooks into. if you look here, they kind of just set in there. And these things here, they're just replace them, guys. I mean, it's, unless you're in Southern boys there where they don't have the rust, these things here, they put this plastic coating over them. And it's going to preserve it. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you see the black or not. So what happens, it usually rusts underneath it and then it breaks. So yeah, we're not going to screw around with that. This, again, it's the family ride home, the kids and the wife. So we're going to go ahead and change them out. One more strap. We're probably going to cut this one and probably not do it the right way. We'll probably just sawzall it, hell with it. And then once that's down, like I said, we're changing the straps. We got an extra clip and bolt, so it'll be fine. So let's get this thing cut down.
One eternity later.
See how much better a new blade works? What the hell? That's me being cheap. You know what I'm saying? Things ain't cheap either, right? So we got this dude out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and we showed you any other one. This side's a little bit different. Oh, you got, just kind of slides off the edge. That one's got like a ledge there. So now we're ready to bring this thing down, get this set down, and hopefully we'll just get it down first. All right, guys, we're gonna try this again. I did get them unplugged. I'll show you the plugs when we get it down. It'll be a little easier. At that point, this thing's got a lot of fuel in it, so we're hoping we don't drop the tank, because that'd be exciting, right? Thing is, he's got to go at an angle and then kind of set up in there. So we're kind of fiddling around with that right now, but should be ready to come out any second here. Kind of got to wedge it in there. There it is. Now we don't want to let fuel the rest of the back and get just ridiculously heavy, because my wife decided to, you know, fill this thing up, of course, yesterday. So a little bit of weight. All right, so let's bring it down to my level now so we can stabilize this a little bit. You can see this thing's pretty crusty up top. Let me see if I can drag it off onto the ground, at least so it can stabilize. Yeah, she's still a little uneven. All right, I'll show you in just a second here when I get it on the ground. All right, so the electrical connector is pretty easy. Here's your tank pressure sensor and your fuel pump. They do have these little clips in there. You just kind of pull these dudes back. They just sit in there. And then that way you can release your detent. But to show you this guy, now I did break the pressure sensor off because we got a new one, so it don't really matter. If you look here, you see it's all wet. And then we got a new lock ring as well. Or is it we can drag this thing outside and blow it off? This thing is nasty. I mean, look at all this stuff here. But here's that damn hose they ran over the cross. Remember how simple-minded is that shit? So everything else came up pretty smooth. Just got to get all this dirt and debris out of here. You don't want all that stuff fall in your tank anyway. So I guess let's get started with that, huh? Fun stuff. And then we'll knock that tank ring out. I'll show you how that all comes out. Pretty sweet. All right, guys, so we got this tank ready to go. We're just going to go ahead and blow everything out like we talked about. I'm going to show you that. And then the fuel lines right here, like we talked about, they get pretty rusty. The hardest part, believe it or not, is getting these things off after they rot in there. So I did get a couple of replacement ones just in case. So we'll see if we can go ahead and get that taken care of. But pretty much want to start off with just kind of it's always nice to kind of tap it too, because there's also some buildup around here. See all that stuff rattling loose? Yeah, we did grab a new tank lock ring as well, so we'll probably install that too. All right, so here's one of the trials and tribulations. So what we did is we pulled the line out, but you see the O-ring and the plastic retainer. We pretty much pulled the guts out of this dude. See how this one's still stuck in there? So we're fighting with that. Worst case, SUR&R product line sells some push connect fittings that you can crimp on with like PEX tubing clamps. So hopefully, I'd rather not screw at that because then we're gonna shorten the line, which makes it more difficult to put on. So we're gonna work at this thing a few more moments, see if we get it out, and then get that fuel pump out. All right, guys, so we ended up pulling the line right off the 3/8 feed line, got it in on the vise, and it happened again. Pretty much same thing, which what happens is these things rust up, and then they swell up on this plastic, and then it pulls the guts right out of these damn things. We're gonna try putting it back together. Usually you can, just kind of clean them up, grease her up good, snaps in. But I wanted to show you that fitting I was talking about. So this is a push connect fitting for nylon tubing. What's nice though is SUR&R, they make it where you can use like these mini PEX tubing clamps. And you can do it on the vehicle. I don't know if you guys ever pissed with them Dorman ones, like a big gun. Yeah, them are a pain in the ass. This here, super nice, quick, and works really well. Plus it gives you a clamp too, so a little bit of insurance, right? At least you think. Again, I'm trying not to shorten the line, but I mean, you're only talking cutting off, I mean, hell, I don't know, 6 inches, right? I'm just kidding, but you know, we do have to shorten it, so we're gonna see what we can do. See if we can get this put back together. All right, these are the things they don't show you in school. So you see all the rust here, that's what kind of held that retainer up. We got that dude off, just clamped it in a vise and pried it on with a screwdriver. Here's your O-ring, inspect it, make sure it's not shit. You don't wanna have any fuel leaks by all means. And then basically I pulled the locking clip out, and then essentially we're going to just kind of reassemble it, and then it'll be good to go. I mean, that's how it came from the factory. Like I said, I just pulled it out simply because that damn rust. So we got to do that to the other line too. I'm gonna push that back together. What I like to do is I like to use a new piece of line with that flare on it with no lock. Then you'll hear it snap. When you get it seated, it'll, so let's get it put together and see if we can do the other side real quick. Well, that one's on the tank still, so we're gonna screw with that one outside, but at least we can get this line off easy and do this one inside, so. All right, so what I like to do, you gotta drop your O-ring in there. So I'll show you guys how to put this back together. And it really just kind of seats in there nice. Obviously, be careful trying not to pinch this darn thing. Then you're gonna be having troubles. It'll be leaking like we were, what the hell, you know? If you use, so I just happen to have a transmission line fitting adapter to push connect. If you use that, it's kind of what I use as a insertion tool. Now, granted, you could use the fuel pump even, really. You know, we're just trying to get it back together and then show you an example, but realistically, and then spray the hell out of this thing because you don't want to tear that O-ring. Get the old deep creep. And basically push it together, and you'll hear a snap. Now, it may be tough to hear. Let's see if we can get it to do it. So, it takes a little effort, but by all means, she's good as new. That's why that line came off like a pain in the ass, but now we just gotta do it one more time, and then we'll get that fuel pump out and get that set in. All right, we got both our lines back together. We also got this dude back together, all lubed up, ready to go. So now we're down to knocking this thing out. Basically, hammer, screwdriver, you know, because this is a pry bar, right? Or a chisel. So I'm gonna go ahead and whack on that a couple times, get this lock ring out, get this dude popped out.
One hour later.
Well, guys, that took way longer than expected. Welcome to the Rust Belt. So you always want to blow this stuff off too. I'm going to show you the lock ring. So this is our unit there. We don't need that anymore. So you don't want all this crap falling in your tank. So we're almost there. Just want to give her one good blow job, you know. know if you guys saw that or not, but there is a vent line that does have to be unhooked. And you can see we did get some shit in the tank. Nothing you can do now. It's got a pickup screen for a reason. It might have been from before too, but hard to say. Like I said, we did have some trouble getting that thing off. We knocked a couple holes in it, so at least we can set the new one in and go from there. So yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. Much better shape, right? So we did have to pull this off the other fuel pump. This just snaps on here. That's where that vent line hooks up to. Got a new seal, and then this is, you know, to build a bare fuel pump here, because you got to put your float on as well. So we'll get that dude hooked on. Pretty straightforward. He just kind of goes in the hole here, and it just snaps. That's it. There's your gas gauge. So now we got to fish that dude down in there. Put our seal on. We did get a new locking ring. We tried wiping some of that dirt out as well. We used a rag and kind of stuck our hand down in there. Again, that might not be the right way, but at least we got a majority of the stuff out. So we got to fish this guy in there. Grab that vent line like we talked about. Cool. So there is a locator where this dude goes. So it can all go one way. Try to drop your seal in there. We put that new lock ring on and get this bad boy back in the truck. Same treatment, hammer and screwdriver, pound her back in. Back to our fun project from earlier. I just sawzalled the head off. I got torches. I just didn't want to bring an open flame in here. Realistically, there's just this J nut here. So that dude should pop down. That's it. So we do have, and I'll show you that too real quick, another clip. Basically, same thing. Dorman makes that. Just kind of snaps back in. We're back to styling. Normally I'd replace both, but I used the last one on another vehicle. So here we are. We got one. But one's good. It'll be all right. Just gotta hold the gas tank in, right? It'll be fine. Actually, honestly, the nuts on the other side, it really doesn't matter. That little J thing is just for installation purposes. So, but like to do that, get that in, and then we can start putting this tank back in. The biggest thing is we need to, we gotta kind of fish the front end like we discussed earlier. You kind of seen how it came out. What's nice is these things are quite long, our plugs, so we can plug it in like here, and go ahead and fight with it from there. But it was definitely a chore putting this thing up on there by myself. We got her though. A little ingenuity. Just got to be careful. There's quite a bit of fuel in here, so she's pretty tipsy. Plus we're fighting our lines in the back. You just don't want to dump this thing off here. Sort of second hand would be nice, but you know, you get what you get. All right, so we're gonna try the aid of a ratchet strap here. The biggest problem we're having is trying to swing the front of this tank up in there. So I really, you know, guys, if you gotta do it on the ground, it's gonna be a pain in the ass. But there's just about, you know, this much tank that's above that cross member. So like I said, we don't have the extra hand here, so we got one here. We're gonna go ahead and try to swing it back on the strap, get the front end of there, and then we can use the jack again, basically. Problem is this thing's got a lot of fuel in it. I should have drained it when it was down, but it's just wasted time. So I'll bring you guys along for this journey and see if we drop this damn thing. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. So we got it back in there. We're gonna go ahead and plug everything in. Save you guys the boring stuff. You already watched me take all that out. So we'll get all that put back together and let's see if she starts. All right, guys, moment of truth. Got her all in, set up. See if she starts. Obviously it ran when it drove in, but you never know how this shit goes with these aftermarket parts. So it'll be a long crank for sure because we got to prime the pump. Well, that ain't so bad. We'll let that run for a moment and we'll see if we get any gas leaking, but because remember we did re-put them fittings back together. I think it'll be fine. No, we lubed them up good. O-rings look good, so. Well guys, no leak, so that's a good thing, right? Man, oh man, we got it done in just a lick of time with our little outside, you know, experience. Getting that damn lock ring out. Take a look at this, raining cats and dogs now, or Great Danes, you know, like that one. It turned into a shit show real fast. But on that note, guys, I appreciate you sticking along for the boring stuff too. We got some fun projects. We got a little special one coming in. Our buddy JT from JT's Barn and Grill, we went and did a junkyard tour with. Well, we'll get to put a motor in his daughter's Fiero. I know you guys like Fieros, right? I know I do. I'm just kidding. I don't fit in the damn things anyways. So, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.